He never called him this drug.
I call this regular meeting September 25th, 2018 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the agenda before us. Do I have any additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda?
Oh, yes, I do actually.
All right.
Under law director, I'd like to add easement acquisition.
Okay, have that anything else? If not, then we will start with the monthly report for the sheriff. Who's going to give that this evening? We have the major, two sergeants, and a detective. So
Something's going on
yeah,
here.
is this rank or you lost the toss?
I just wait to see who moves and then kind of, yeah.
I'm just here to say hi.
Good evening, everyone. In front of you should have the August 2018 monthly report. Excuse me. Our calls for service continue to increase. I think that's been the going trend this year. 46% increase as opposed to last year. I think I looked at last month and it was like a 44%. So I think that's going to see the trend from this point forward. Our crashes were up 28% with 69 total. We had 13 crashes with injury, another increase, 109 alarms, 288 traffic stops with a 38% increase. Citations were slightly down with 144, which is still, I think, a significant number. Our arrests were up with 57 total, and we completed 106 vacation checks for the month. Detective Ross had 23 cases assigned to him. Of those cases assigned, he was able to close 2 robberies, 3 missing person reports, and 2 thefts. And I believe the robberies and the thefts were all with warrants issued or arrests made in regard to those. Next page is just our comparison to 2017, and then our yearly will be the last page from 2013 every year on. So, any questions?
Questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Normally, I would ask this time if there's anyone in the audience that
We're
has
the
a
law.
question, but I'm going to guess and say they probably do. Okay, that takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a request for resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $328,530.59.
I'll move on fiscal officer number 1.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Abstain.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved. Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for resolution to authorize the payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the investment report for August. Total interest was $15,636.65. If anyone has any questions, I'm available after the meeting. Fiscal Officer number 5 is the bank reconciliation for the month of August. Again, if there's any questions, I'm available after the meeting. Fiscal Officer number 6 is a request for a resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is request for resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS service as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes Fiscal Officer report.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to the administrator.
Thank you. I have a rather lengthy resolution for the board tonight that I will try to hit the highlights on. This is a resolution in support of House Bill 602. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, whereas a small number of municipalities across Ohio have been charging outside communities a higher rate for water and sewer than they charge their own residents, even when the municipality that owns the system has used Ohio and federal taxpayer funding to create their system. And whereas upon investigation, certain duly elected Ohio representatives have learned that the Ohio EPA does not regulate pricing for these services or provide any complaint process, nor does the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio have jurisdiction, mostly as a result of Ohio's constitutional home rule provisions. And whereas the representatives' proposed solution would be to allow municipalities to charge outside communities whatever rate they wish, as long as they do not accept state or federal funding for their systems. And if they choose to accept state or federal funding, specific proposed consumer protection should be established that would ensure fair treatment. This is a common sense reform to help Ohio taxpayers all be treated the same. Township residents have no recourse but to pay the higher rates, and further resolving that the trustees support this legislation, which would end what we call forced annexation over water and sewer services, and then to forward the copy of this resolution to our representatives Thomas West, Kirk Schuring, Scott Olslager, and Speaker of the House, of Representatives Ryan Smith, and Ohio Senate President Ray Pop. Also our Governor and the Director of Governmental Affairs for the Township Association.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
I did have a conversation with Kirk Schuring last week on this very matter. It's likely, probably have to be reproposed or picked back up in the new legislative session. Based upon the guidance that he provided, it was introduced relatively new, I think by Senator Duffy, or Representative Duffy. And, yeah, he's outside Columbus, and,
Yes.
Given that it's so new, and they're not coming back into session until right after the elections, and it's breakneck speed on finalizing stuff that they've already really vetted and talked through quite a bit. This getting passed this year is probably a long shot, but it's something that I was told would like to come back in the next session, because they've been already getting some calls from the OTA. So I asked Lisa to make sure to have this for us, and then even at the County Township Association, we're looking to do something similar to represent the 17 Stark County townships on this. I mean, when you really do think about it, the money that they're taking from all of us, at some point, through state or federal dollars, that for their benefit, then still charge us 2 to 4 times more.
And this is supported by the OTA also.
It
Ohio
is, it's
Township
one of their
Association,
legislative
because obviously
priorities.
It affects everybody outside of municipalities in the state of Ohio exactly the same way.
Everybody.
So it just makes sense. So it's not a regional or a localized thing, it's the whole state.
And if, Mr. Wolf, if you could make a, not this evening, but a copy of it and certify it for us, then I can get out the mailings.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And that's the end of the administrator report.
Thank you. That takes us to the Fire Department Chief Schallenberger.
Thank you. Item number 1 is our monthly report. We have a couple pictures there from a couple of the drills we did with the school, and Station 3's in there because we did repaint or paint all the garage doors and the stucco and stuff on the front, so it's got a new look, and did some work at Station 3.
Yeah. Looks nice, yeah. Good job. Thanks.
Good. Item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize payment to Stark State College for 6 firefighters to attend a Rope 1 technical training course, an amount not to exceed $3,000.
So moved. Been moved and seconded, discussion, that's going pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think it helps us out. We don't have to send people away. It's a little closer, so we don't have so much travel expense. And it's a 4-day course, and it helps us keep everybody up to date for our confined space training, our trench rescue and that. So some newer guys in it, so we can keep getting people trained for that.
Yeah.
I was just concerned, what exactly, help me out here, exactly is?
Rope 1,
Yeah.
it's just basically a training on, NFPA says you have to have a certification to do some of those other disciplines like confined space, trench rescue, technical rescue stuff. And so basically they're knots, they do rappelling, hauling systems and that, so it gives you that baseline to be able to do those other tasks.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize reimbursement to Brandon Makel in the amount of $400 for healthcare membership according to Provision 37 of the collective bargaining agreement.
I'll move on to number 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4, resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to promote James Russell II, Brandon Ogden, Adam Farley, and Ben McGee to the position of lieutenant effective 0700 hours on January 1st, 2019. Wages and benefits to be set by the current collective bargaining agreement.
So moved. Second. It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
Yeah, we have one position that we needed to fill due to a vacancy. The other ones are what we're going to call floating lieutenants to help with supervision at the outlying stations. When lieutenants are off, vacations, etc., this gives us a person in supervisory to make sure we have things done and we have somebody, a little more experience, I guess, at the seat for fire calls and to make decisions. So.
Yeah, there's some pretty good leadership there. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. That takes us to road. Before we get started, our road superintendent, Joe Iacino, has an excused absence this evening. He's still recuperating. So in his absence, we have Paul Burke. So it's all yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Road number 1 is the monthly report. Road number 2 is no parking in Diamond Park allotment for the Bothwell Cup.
I will so move on road number 2.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road number 3, again, is no parking for the temporary no parking for the Bothwell Cup.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Road number 4 is a resignation letter from Raymond Isla, effective October 5th.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. It happens.
Road number 5 is the authorization to purchase and deliver and set dry wells for the 49th and Linford project from Lindsay Precast, amount not to exceed $2,658.54.
So moved.
Second's been moved and seconded, discussion, that's just that project we've been kind of wanting to get moving
We've been
along.
wanting to do this for a long time.
Yes.
What height the dry wells have to put in there? You know,
They're gonna be 10 foot
10
total,
foot.
same as,
Similar to what you did on 20th off of
exactly the
Lakeside?
same thing.
Oh, those seem to
25th.
work too.
Mhm.
That one on Lakeside, off of Lakeside, is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, really good.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
if I may, Mr. Paul, I had several calls last week. I was very busy for some of our residents, and Paul, you did a nice job.
Thank you.
You took care of it, you got back with me, and I appreciate it, because, you know, you're stepping it up now. Joe's not here, and very professionally and nice job, I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's done a great job, he really
I would
has.
echo that, I had him looking at garbage bags last week. It was right on.
Did you,
Yeah,
from the inmates?
Yeah.
Picking
Yep.
up the trash.
Mhm.
And there is a 3 to 4 week lead time on these dry wells, so it'll be a month from now.
Matter of fact, one of the residents didn't even want to talk to me. She said, "Who are you?" And I hear my name, she goes, "Well, I'm dealing with the road, I'm not gonna deal with you." So there you go, so it was all good, because Paul took care of it. It was.
Good job, Paul.
Thank you.
yeah.
He's been up every day, several times a day at admin, keeping me abreast of every situation. He's got it handled, he's done a great
Very
job.
good, buddy.
One other
Good job.
issue is that we have a OBI checkpoint tomorrow night
Mhm.
that we're involved with the sheriff's department
Good.
on Middle Branch, and the second one on Harrisburg tomorrow night.
Great job, Paul.
Is that public
Thanks.
use? No,
Thanks so much.
so don't put it out? I won't put the video up right after.
We don't broadcast that until tomorrow.
That's fine,
The
this,
location.
this won't make public until.
Yeah.
For a big audience tonight. Jessica, don't write that down.
All right,
You're on TV.
that takes us to zoning, Mr. Ferrara.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item on the agenda is the monthly report.
Questions or anything? Okay, let's go to number.
Second item on the agenda is a resolution to declare items A through D as nuisance abatements.
I will move on zoning to A through D.
I'll second it. Been moved and seconded, discussion.
The only thing I want to make a comment on is specific to 2B. These whole, the clothes and shoes, that container, I think we had them over in Diamond at one point, we had them pulled out. I mean, this organization that runs these is absolutely atrocious and poorly. It's nothing but a cesspool of,
Yeah.
it's like a magnet for trash. This one's at Harmont 3801.
Kmart.
Okay.
Yeah, Kmart. So that doesn't
Actually, there
help.
was three, sir.
Is it, oh, yeah.
The first one got dumped there, and then two more followed.
Yeah.
It's just,
And I think we're looking at.
Yeah, Tom wrote some
that
very good
is all
language
also
for
part of that
zoning.
proposed language that we're gonna look at for those, and some regulations that we don't have right now, that we can actually then, start to do some things with, some enforcement, stuff like that, so. Anything else on 2A through D? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
And item number 3 is a resolution to declare items A through C as nuisance abatement payments.
so moved.
Second's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
And that'll be all for zoning.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to Parks, Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
Any questions, anything? Okay, number 2.
Item number 2 is a resolution to increase Christina Taylor's
pay rate from $9.29 to $10 an hour to match the rest of the seasonals from Fund 14A01B for duties performed for the Township Parks Department with Bessie Haynes.
So moved. Second's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
I'm not seeing number 3. The number 3 is a resolution. Authorize payment of $1,600 for the repaving of the diamond entrance and exit around the boulevards, as well as the strip right in front of the building, running east-west.
Yeah, I got it.
We don't have that. Do you have it?
I have it in the office.
Oh.
I have a copy in my office, but
Can we go get it? So
Yeah.
we don't have it. So we can at least read it for the record.
This is the-
That's the way it's.
what you talked about, to be correct?
it's correct.
Yeah. That's, yeah, that's.
Yeah, well, Rob said I can just do a quick reminder on that, so we can keep moving, as
All right.
we have our Fall Fest tomorrow. It's the last farmer's market from 4 to 7, and there's gonna be pumpkin painting, family pictures, a balloon artist, some games to end up our final season with our vendors. So it's also the fire station open house during the Fall Fest. So the station will be open for tours and time to speak with the chief and.
There's some free rides in the elevator. Yeah.
That's right.
Rob's orders were all in. What's Rob? Rob can be the conductor.
Yeah.
And Tom. And that little, oh my gosh. Every time I think of that.
Should we do Parks 5?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's, please.
So Parks number 5 is a resolution to authorize payment to Know Your Roots in the amount of $3,162.50 from Fund 0F0AL for the farmer's market coordination.
So moved. Second, it's been moved and seconded for Parks 5. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. So getting back to number 3, you
I
don't
gave
have
my
it.
only copy to Marilyn, so I'll have to put it aside until next time.
Yeah, but you want to start on that, don't you?
Well, we can do a,
We can get started and authorize.
we can do a
payment.
verbal resolution and put it into the
Do
record.
we know what the cost is?
Yeah, what is
$6,100.
$6,100, which is high estimate. It'll be less than that, but the entry and exit to Diamond and then in front of it, there, we can't wait on that. It's cash.
Who's gonna be the vendor, is that?
The township's doing it, we're just paying for the asphalt.
paying
They'll
for
use
the
their machine to grind it, pave it. This is raw
So, how about I
material.
could go this area, clean it up for me if I.
Sure.
So I'll make a motion for Parks number 3, the Diamond parking lot be hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to authorize payment for asphalt and concrete work at the Diamond Park east entrance lot, for work to be performed by the Plain Township Road Department in an amount not to exceed $6,100.
And it'll be paid from the general fund improvement of sites.
I'll second that then.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion. You guys did a nice job on the fire department entrance, so.
Thank you.
You know, that's kind of like the same thing.
It will be.
Yeah, it's,
Same
that came out real nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, not good.
you know, I think we're saving a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what we
you know,
got.
by doing that, so. You
We
know,
all
that just
know
kind of
what-
shows equipment
Yeah.
and all the other things that we buy and we purchase and we plan for pays off in the long run.
Pays off,
so,
it sure does.
But once we grind it, we don't know what's underneath, so
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah,
But if it's bad, we'll fix it and pave it.
good.
Perfect.
Any other discussion, roll call?
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Okay, so we've already done number 4, we did that while you were out, we did number 5 while you were out. So, we'll move to 6.
This is the last one. There's a resolution from the board of trustees in Plain Township, Stark County, how to determine the rates for tournaments, events based on operating costs on a case-by-case basis, so we can have more flexibility to operate.
I would So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
I think this is just smart
I do
business.
too.
You know, we've learned through a couple situations with folks trying to stronger the township when we did a little deeper dive. When you look at really what's our margin, I mean, we're a $21 million service delivery business here. We essentially had negative margins, i.e. losing money.
True.
Just because of prior efforts to streamline rates and so forth that when applied to some of the tournaments really wasn't working out to our benefit, and given the fact that we currently do not have a harsh levy in place, the user fees are all the more important to covering costs and helping maintain operations. So I think this is no different than any other business, whether you're quoting miles of roadway or getting quotes for different type of equipment, road, parks, fiscal zoning, whatever. This is just a smart thing.
I would agree.
To do.
Previous boards and the current board have always tried to keep prices realistic, but we really are a bargain. When you look around at all these other places that are going on, we're the bargain. And the people that want to do these tournaments, they're making profit. So we have to look at that as well. So, and you know, they're putting on quality events, but we're giving them quality facilities.
And service.
Exactly.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
you know, I think we need to look at that close. So, I like this. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
That concludes parks, thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to our law director, Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you, sir. I have one item for you this evening. It is to approve the appropriation of an easement for storm sewer with Paws Enterprises LLC in the amount of $2,500.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. This is for right away.
Correct. This is for the sewer project.
Yes.
This is the one we had to file the appropriation petition on, so it was in active litigation. So we've resolved that, if you'll agree here this evening. I also note that at the end, I authorized, I didn't know who to put, usually it comes back on Lisa's desk anyway, so I authorized that she be able to effectuate the settlement with some of the, you know, signings and so forth.
Okay, because this project, we want to kind of get moving along.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I would
Absolutely.
agree. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Eric, would it be
Thanks.
safe then to call the county to have them in?
Absolutely. Yes, I've already spoken with the lawyer for Paws and told him that we'll be voting tonight. I'll call him tomorrow, tell him that we're good to go, and then we'll start the paperwork process. Okay?
Very good. Thanks, sir. That's it for the law director. That takes us to communications.
Yes, we have one item under communications tonight, and it's from Plain Local Schools, from Mary Goodell, and it reads, Rob, thank you so much for being a part of our Family Fun Day at Glen Oak High School. We appreciate so much your continued partnership. Mary. That's the end of communications.
Good job, very nice. That takes us to public speaks. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board?
Major, everything the same.
Anyway.
Major.
Going once.
Okay. Any concerns of the fiscal officer?
No concerns.
And then our next item is the approval of the minutes for September 11th.
Also moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
We have no need for an executive session tonight, so,
Not yet.
yeah, I will.
20 minutes. I own it.
Really, I mean, we haven't,
I've got it done in 20.
It was my long
Yeah, it's
resolution.
23.
I will, yeah,
But pre-you,
are you serious?
it's 11 minutes. Look it up.
he-
Guys,
Somebody
it's
keeps
11
track.
minutes. It was in December, it was near Christmas.
They voted and closed the session.
It was quick.
Might as well be all night now.
All right.
All All right, I will entertain a motion to
Also
adjourn.
move.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.